Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night with an awful itch that just won't go away? It's one of those discomforts that can make you feel like you're losing the battle. No matter how much you scratch, your skin only seems to get drier and the itching gets worse. And after a bath, your skin might even feel tighter than before. Then there are those moments in the bathroom when you suddenly feel dizzy or short of breath. I know how unsettling and unnerving those experiences can be. I'm Dr. Samuel Thompson, and I've been practicing medicine for over 50 years. Growing up, I always heard that a bath a day keeps you healthy. It's something I believed in deeply and even passed along to my patients. After all, it just made sense, right? But one night, something happened that made me rethink that very belief. I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling itchy all over my body. Despite my daily baths, my skin kept getting drier and the itching wouldn't stop. That's when I realized something important. The very habit we've all been told is so beneficial could actually be causing harm as we get older. You might be thinking, but how can you stay healthy if you don't bathe every day? Trust me, I used to think that way too. But over time, I began to notice that many of my patients were experiencing similar problems. Just recently, Mrs. Helen Whitaker, a 74-year-old woman, came to see me. She'd been taking hot baths twice a day for years. Her skin had started cracking, and she was waking up at night from the constant itching. I was taken aback. Her long-standing habit of bathing so often had been drying out her skin and causing the very problem she was trying to avoid. That's when I realized the belief that being clean means being healthy may not hold true for us as we age. It was time to rethink that old approach and find a healthier way to care for our skin. I want to share with you how small changes can make a big difference in your health. From my years of experience and lessons learned from my patients, I can tell you that even the smallest adjustments can have a profound impact on your quality of life. As a doctor, I often get asked a question that seems to come up again and again. Doctor, I bathe every day, so why is my skin still so itchy? It's a question I've heard more times than I can count. When I was growing up, my parents' generation firmly believed that cleanliness is health. Taking a bath every day was simply a given. As a young doctor, I carried that same belief, passing it on to my patients as well. But as I reached my 70s, I started to realize that this habit we've all held on to might actually be doing more harm than good. Recent studies show that about 90% of people over 70 experience skin issues due to improper bathing habits. And the main culprit? Bathing every day. As we age, our bodies change in ways we don't always expect. The body of a 70-year-old operates very differently from that of a 20-year-old. Still, many of us try to maintain the habits we formed when we were younger without realizing that this can actually be harmful to our health. Let me tell you a story about my mother. She's 83 years old, and for her entire life, cleanliness has been of utmost importance. Every morning and evening, she would bathe with hot water, and this was a routine she stuck to without fail. But one day, she woke up with her skin itching so badly that she couldn't sleep. Despite seeing doctors, no one could pinpoint the cause. She finally came to me for advice. I immediately recognized the problem. Her daily baths were actually the culprit. By then, Her skin had become so dry that the protective barrier was almost gone. A lot of people might think, isn't bathing every day necessary? But the truth is, for people over 70, bathing every day can actually do more harm than good. Bathing just once every 2 days is far better for your health. At first, my mother struggled to accept this advice. Changing a habit she had followed her entire life wasn't easy, but eventually the itching became unbearable and she decided to cut back on her baths. Just 2 weeks later, the itching noticeably decreased. A month later, she was sleeping through the night without any problems. My mother was truly amazed at how such a simple change could make such a big difference to her health. What this story shows is how a small change in habit can greatly improve your health and quality of life. I encourage you to try making these small adjustments. You might be surprised at how they can help you feel better and live a more enjoyable and fulfilling life. When I see my patients, the first thing I always check is their skin. After all, our skin is our body's first line of defense, so it's incredibly important. But as we age, our skin changes. And when I look at the skin of patients in their 70s and beyond, it really breaks my heart. It becomes dry, cracked, and often itchy, with scratch marks scattered all over. Seeing that, you can't help but wonder, why does it hurt so much? So why does our skin change like this as we age? Well, in our 20s, our skin holds about 10 to 15% water, but by the time we're in our 70s, that number drops to under 5%. On top of that, the oils in our skin decrease, and it becomes thinner, with much slower recovery abilities. With this kind of skin, if we bathe every day in hot water, we wash away the very protective oils that our skin needs. When we're younger, our skin can recover quickly, but as we age, that recovery takes longer. So, when we bathe every day, the skin doesn't have enough time to recover before the protective barrier is damaged again. Let me tell you a story to illustrate. I'll never forget Mrs. Ruth Chapman, a 73-year-old patient of mine. She had always prioritized cleanliness, so she bathed twice a day with hot water. When she was younger, there were no issues, but as she entered her late 70s, her itching became unbearable. She couldn't sleep at night and told me, "I'm scratching so much, I'm getting cuts and even bleeding." In an attempt to get cleaner, Mrs. Chapman started using more soap and scrubbing even harder. But it only made things worse. When I looked at her skin, it looked like dry, cracked earth. The protective barrier was completely gone. I suggested a rather shocking idea to her. "Mrs. Chapman, try bathing only once every 2 days, using lukewarm water, and keep the bath time under 5 minutes. And after your bath, make sure to apply a moisturizer right away." At first, she didn't believe me. "You're telling me that I'll be cleaner by bathing less? That doesn't make sense," she said. I understood her skepticism. I once thought the same. But she was so uncomfortable that she finally decided to give it a try. And when she came back to see me a month later, I was absolutely amazed. Her skin had improved significantly, and the itching had reduced greatly. She was sleeping better too, no longer struggling to rest through the night. "Doctor, cutting back on my baths really worked. It's incredible," she told me, and I couldn't help but agree. You see, we've all been conditioned to believe that bathing every day is the key to cleanliness. But as we age, our skin doesn't need that constant washing. That's why I always recommend the following to my patients over 70. Don't bathe every day. Cut back to every other day. Use lukewarm water instead of hot, and limit the bath to under 5 minutes. Most importantly, within 3 minutes of your bath, apply a moisturizer. These small changes can make a world of difference for your skin health. You'll experience less itching, lower risk of skin infections, and most importantly, a better quality of life. In my 40 years as a doctor, I've seen countless patients experience amazing transformations from making just this simple change. And I know you can too. Start making these changes today. I promise you'll see just how much they can improve your life. Now, let me tell you about the second reason why daily bathing can be dangerous. One of the most common questions I hear from patients is, why do I keep falling in the bathroom? The truth is, bathroom falls are more common than you might think. And for those over 70, the risk is especially high. According to some statistics I've seen, about 30% of people over 70 experience an accident in their bathroom at home. A large number of these accidents occur during bathing, often caused by dizziness. So, why are falls so common in the bathroom? Have you ever stopped to think about it? The reason is that when we bathe, our blood pressure changes rapidly. As we age, our bodies don't adapt as quickly to changes in temperature or posture. When we're younger, we can easily adjust to hot water. But as we get older, our response time slows down. So, when we step into hot water, our blood pressure drops suddenly, which can lead to dizziness and, in extreme cases, even fainting. At this point, you might be thinking, does that mean we should stop bathing altogether? Well, not necessarily. The key is to adjust our bathing habits just a bit, and that can make a world of difference. I remember a particular patient, Mr. George Harris, who was 81 years old. He had always valued his health, working as a farmer for most of his life. Even after retiring, he continued his daily routine of bathing in hot water every morning. But one morning, he suddenly told me, my vision went black, and I almost collapsed. Thankfully, he managed to grab the handrail and avoided a fall, but he was understandably shaken by the experience. I asked him, "How were you feeling before your bath that day?" He replied, "I was feeling fine, and my body felt light. But once I stepped into the hot water, I got dizzy." That's when I realized what had happened. When we're fatigued or our blood pressure is already low, stepping into hot water can cause it to drop even further, making us dizzy and increasing the risk of fainting. This becomes even more dangerous as we age. So I suggested a change in Mr. Harris's bathing routine. From then on, he started bathing every other day instead of every day, using lukewarm water and limiting his bath time to under 10 minutes. At first, he was hesitant. "Does it make sense to change something I've been doing all my life?" he questioned. But after giving it a try, Mr. Harris found that his dizziness lessened, and he felt much more comfortable after his baths. "It's amazing, Doctor. Bathing less has really made a difference," he said, and I couldn't help but feel proud of him. This experience taught me something really important. Bathing every day isn't always the best thing for your body, especially as we get older. Seniors don't need to bathe as often as we once thought. A simple change in routine can make a big difference in health. So, I encourage you to try bathing every other day instead of daily. Use lukewarm water, limit your bath time to 10 minutes, and always apply moisturizer afterward. These small changes can significantly improve your skin health and reduce the risk of falls. And perhaps most importantly, if you want to prevent dizziness after a bath, make sure you stay well hydrated and take safety precautions in the bathroom. Installing non-slip mats and handrails can help prevent accidents. In my 40 years as a doctor, I've seen countless patients prevent accidents and improve their health simply by making small changes. I encourage you to start making these changes today. It doesn't take much to make a big difference. Take that first step for your health starting today. Now let's talk about the third reason why daily baths can be risky. One of the questions I often get from patients is, "I've heard that taking a bath after a meal is good for you. Is that true?" Another common question is, "I've been told that bathing first thing in the morning is good for my health." But did you know that for seniors over 70, these practices can actually be dangerous? First, let's think about why bathing immediately after a meal can be harmful. When we eat, most of our blood is directed to the stomach and intestines to help with digestion. But if you take a hot bath right after eating, the blood that should be going to your digestive organs is instead sent to your skin. This can result in a lack of blood flow to vital organs, especially the brain. And as a result, you may feel dizzy or even faint. Let me tell you about a shocking case I encountered with Mr. Robert Jenkins, a 69-year-old patient. After a big family meal during the holidays, he decided to take his usual hot bath to relax. But suddenly, he became dizzy and almost fainted. Fortunately, his family quickly called for an ambulance, and by the time he arrived at the hospital, serious damage had already begun to occur in his brain. The hot bath caused his blood pressure to drop rapidly, restricting the blood flow to his brain. Mr. Jenkins had to deal with long-term effects from this incident. Looking back, no one could have predicted it. He had simply eaten a nice meal with his family and wanted to relax with a bath, but that led to a serious problem. This is a risk that many people unknowingly overlook. And did you know that bathing on an empty stomach can also be dangerous? When your stomach is empty, your blood sugar is low and your body is lacking energy. Taking a bath in this state can deplete your energy even more, leaving you feeling dizzy or weak. Another memorable case I want to share is about Mrs. Dorothy Miller, who was 71 years old. Every morning she would take a hot bath right after waking up before eating anything. But one day, while in the bath, she suddenly felt weak, drenched in cold sweat, and almost fainted. Fortunately, her daughter was right there and helped her immediately, preventing a serious incident. After tests, we found that Mrs. Miller had low blood sugar, and taking a hot bath without eating anything had caused her blood sugar to drop even further. After this incident, Mrs. Miller started eating a small snack like a banana before bathing and waited about 30 minutes afterward. Since then, she hasn't experienced dizziness again. This reminded me how such small habits can make such a big difference. So, let me give you a few recommendations. Avoid taking a bath immediately after eating and never bathe on an empty stomach. If you want to make sure your bath is safe, have a light snack before bathing and wait about 30 minutes. And if you start to feel dizzy or nauseous during a bath, stop immediately and take a rest. These small changes can help prevent dizziness and the risks that come with it after bathing. As a doctor, I've seen so many patients experience life-changing improvements just by making these simple adjustments. I encourage you to start today. It's an important first step in protecting your health and safety. Now, let's talk about the fourth reason why daily baths can be dangerous. We've all heard things like, if you catch a cold, taking a hot bath to sweat it out will help you feel better. Or, if you're tired all day, a bath will relieve your fatigue. I remember when I was young, my mother used to say, if you feel a cold coming on, soaking in hot water will sweat it out and make you feel better. Many people still hold on to these beliefs, but did you know that for seniors over 70, this could actually be dangerous? This is the fourth reason. Bathing during illness or when you're feeling fatigued. Let's first think about why it can be risky to take a hot bath when you have a cold or a fever. I remember Mrs. Alice Carter, who was 75. Whenever she felt the slightest signs of a cold, she would immediately take a hot bath, believing that it would help her sweat out the illness. I've always been taught that if you have a cold, you should soak in hot water to sweat it out and feel better, she'd say. But this time, after taking her bath, her fever only got worse, and her cough became more severe. Eventually, she was diagnosed with pneumonia and had to receive treatment for 2 weeks. She even ended up in the ICU and required oxygen therapy. Why did this happen? When you have a cold or fever and take a hot bath, your body temperature increases even further. When we're younger, our bodies can quickly adapt to a rise in temperature, but as we age, that process slows down. This excessive heat can strain the body, and if it gets too severe, it can lead to high fever, which puts additional pressure on the body. Older adults in particular have weakened immune systems, which means a simple cold can quickly escalate into something as serious as pneumonia. On top of that, frequent hot baths can weaken the skin's protective barrier, making it more susceptible to infections. That's why I always tell my patients, when you're sick or have a fever, avoid hot baths and instead use lukewarm water for a gentle, partial wash. And it's important to consult with your doctor. These may seem like basic things, but they are key to protecting your health. Now let's talk about another situation. Bathing when you're very tired. I remember a 73-year-old patient, Mrs. Barbara Simmons, who had been running around all day preparing for her grandson's birthday party. She was cleaning, cooking, and welcoming guests. She was exhausted. Afterward, she thought a hot bath would relieve her fatigue. I thought if I soaked in hot water, it would help my tired body feel better, she told me. But as soon as she stepped into the bath, she was overwhelmed with dizziness and felt so weak that she could barely get out of the tub. Thankfully, her daughter was nearby and was able to help her, preventing a major problem. Why did this happen? When you're very fatigued and you take a hot bath, your blood vessels expand, causing a drop in blood pressure. This is why dizziness and fainting can occur. For seniors in their 70s and beyond, our ability to regulate blood pressure is often compromised, making this risk even greater. So, here's the advice I always give. When you're feeling sick or extremely tired, don't push yourself to take a bath. Rest first and only bathe once you had time to recover. It's much safer to wait until your body has had a chance to heal before bathing. So, how should you bathe when you're unwell or fatigued. If you have a cold or fever, it's best to avoid hot baths and instead use lukewarm water to wash yourself partially. If you're exhausted or stressed, it's better to postpone your bath. When you're not feeling your best, consider taking a short shower instead. Keep the shower time under 5 minutes and make sure the water isn't too hot. And if possible, don't bathe alone. Have a family member or caregiver nearby for safety. These small changes can go a long way in protecting your health and safety. Over the 40 years I've been practicing medicine, I've seen many patients make simple adjustments like this and experience major improvements. I encourage you to start these changes today. A small change in your habits can make a huge difference in your life. Now, let's talk about the final reason. Many seniors have a habit of saying, "If I have a drink and then take a bath, it'll help relieve my fatigue." Or they might go to a bathhouse after having a drink with friends. I remember when I was younger, my mother used to say, "If you have a shot of soju and then take a bath, it'll lighten your body and relieve your fatigue." You probably heard this too. But did you know that this habit can be extremely dangerous for those over 70? The combination of alcohol and hot water can have a major impact on our health. When you drink alcohol, your blood vessels dilate. This causes your face to flush and your body to feel warm, which makes you feel good. But when you combine that with a hot bath, your blood vessels dilate even more, causing your blood pressure to drop rapidly. When blood pressure drops suddenly like this, you might feel dizzy or even faint. In more serious cases, it can lead to life-threatening situations like a heart attack. I remember a shocking case involving Mr. James Parker, a 75-year-old patient. He had a habit of enjoying a bath after drinking, which he had done since his younger years with his friends. However, as he entered his 70s, he started to feel dizzy during baths. One day, after having a drink, he took a half bath at home and suddenly lost consciousness and collapsed. Luckily, his wife found him quickly and took him to the hospital, but by then his heart had already stopped. Why did this happen? Mr. Parker had consumed alcohol, causing his blood vessels to dilate, and then took a hot bath, which caused his blood pressure to plummet. This led to a heart attack. This incident made me realize how dangerous the combination of alcohol and hot water can be. When you drink, your blood pressure drops, and when you follow that with a hot bath, the situation becomes much more dangerous. For seniors, the blood circulation is slower than it was when they were younger, and their bodies are less able to metabolize alcohol, making it even riskier. For those with underlying conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, the risks are even greater. So, my advice to you is this: never take a bath after drinking. This isn't just a matter of preference, it's a matter of life and death. If you must bathe after drinking, wait at least 2 to 3 hours before doing so. And when you do take a bath, use lukewarm water, keep it under 5 minutes, and make sure a family member or caregiver is nearby. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, be extra cautious. These small changes in your habits could save your life. As a doctor, I've seen so many patients face irreversible consequences because of harmful habits. Every time, I think, this accident could have been prevented. Start making these small changes today. They'll be the first steps in protecting your life and health. We've now covered 5 important reasons why seniors over 70 should avoid daily baths. From the impact on skin health, the risk of falls due to blood pressure fluctuations, to why bathing right after meals or on an empty stomach can be dangerous, and the dangers of bathing while ill or fatigued, and finally, why bathing after drinking alcohol is a risk. I've been a doctor for nearly 40 years, and I've seen many patients struggle due to harmful bathing habits. But I've also seen how adopting healthier habits can help restore their well-being. In fact, after turning 70 myself, I had to reassess and create a bathing routine that was right for my body. Experiencing this change firsthand made me realize just how important these habits really are. So, let me share with you 5 practical tips for developing a healthy bathing routine. First, reducing the frequency of baths is key. Instead of bathing every day, try to reduce it to every other day. When you do bathe, use lukewarm water and keep it short. This will help protect your skin and reduce unnecessary irritation. It's also important to control the timing of your bath. It's better to bathe between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. rather than early in the morning or late at night. This is the time when your body is naturally better adjusted, which minimizes blood pressure fluctuations and reduces the risk of falls. Another important tip is to wait at least 1 to 2 hours after meals before bathing. It's safer to wait at least 30 minutes after a light snack before bathing rather than bathing immediately after a meal. Also, avoid bathing on an empty stomach. This allows for better digestion and helps prevent dizziness during the bath. And of course, if you're sick or overly tired, avoid bathing altogether. If you have a cold, fever, or are very fatigued, it's best to skip the bath until you had a chance to rest and recover. Pushing yourself to bathe while unwell can be risky. Giving your body time to rest and recover is key to maintaining good health. Finally, never bathe immediately after drinking alcohol. This combination can be very dangerous. It's important to wait at least 3 hours after drinking before bathing. Alcohol affects your circulation, and your body needs time to process it before you immerse yourself in hot water. These 5 simple changes can make a big difference to your health and safety. I know it's not easy to change lifelong habits, but these small adjustments will have a profound impact on keeping you healthy and safe. We've all been conditioned to believe that being clean means being healthy. But now, it's time to embrace bathing habits that are better suited to our age. Small changes in your routine can help protect your health and safety. Finally, if you found this information helpful, please share it with your family and friends. You'll be helping your loved ones enjoy a healthier, safer life as they age. Moving forward, we'll continue to provide you with helpful, comforting advice here at the Wisdom Welcome Channel. Thank you, and have a healthy and happy day.